All right, so good morning. Thank you for joining us for this provider informational webinar regarding ARPA 1.05, the HCBS Provider Training Grant. I'm just going to go through some quick housekeeping for us and then hand it off to Justin to get into the good stuff. So we are recording. We do like to record these and post these to the website for folks who weren't able to join us in real time. And so if you ever have questions, you're able to go back to the website, watch previous recordings, and get those questions answered, hopefully. So we just ask that you avoid sharing any protected health information or anything you don't want put out on the website for other folks to access at their leisure. So we have several team members here answering questions, monitoring the chat, so you are able to put your chat questions in at any point. You can also raise your hand at any point too as questions pop up. We certainly encourage that. Meeting materials can be found on the ARPA grant website, which one of my team members will drop or I will drop after the housekeeping slide. Either way, you'll get that a handful of times throughout the meeting. If you're listening by phone, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You can press *6 to unmute your line at any point, or *9 to raise your hand to ask questions. Again, we encourage that. I have turned on the closed captioning, and so that can be changed or turned on or off on your Zoom toolbar at the bottom. And team information on our team, as well as other opportunities, can be found on the Direct Care Workforce Collaborative website. That's a separate website from the grant itself, but still a lot of great information about work going on with HCBS Workforce. And with that, Justin, I will turn it over to you.
Great. My name is Justin Melton. I am the ARPA 1.05 Training Fund Administrator. So I'm here to walk you through some of the information, or all of the information on the training grant. So let's start with the training grant purpose. So we want direct care workers to be able to grow within the HCBS workforce. And this grant is designed to do that by giving them opportunities to expand higher level skills. We want people to be able to move forward in their careers, which in turn keeps people within the direct care workforce. So the purpose of this grant is to provide new skills, specializations, certifications to DCWs for the purpose of advancement. All of this is supplementing. So these funds are adding toolboxes and skill sets to direct care workers so that they can use in future endeavors. We can use these funds to supplement higher level skills, but we cannot use them to supplant training that already exists. These funds cannot be used to replace training that should or is already provided to the HCBS employees, like CPR, first aid, safety care, required annual trainings all fit within this category. And we'll get to more of that later. Next slide. So who are the HCBS workforce? As you can see, the umbrella of who is considered a direct care worker is vast. So all of these positions and many more fall within that umbrella and within the scope of the grant. And this grant exists to support people in these roles to pursue a career in direct care. Yeah, we want to see people move forward. We want to see people grow. And that is the whole purpose of these funds. Next slide. So what kind of training? So back to our discussion of supplementing versus supplanting. Here are some broad examples of the trainings that are not allowable. So there are mentorship programs to upskill direct care workers. Crucial Conversations provides a new skill set for direct care workers in handling different conversations in HCBS settings. Motivational interviewing gives staff the tools to promote greater agency in member lives. Additionally, we have a list of awarded providers on the ARPA website that can provide more information and insight regarding training. And I think if we haven't already, I'm sure someone has dropped the link in there for the ARPA website. So the other trainings that are not allowable because they should be provided to direct care workers. So like the CPR, the first aid, that kind of stuff. Next slide. Eligible applicants. To be eligible, you need to be a home and community-based service waiver provider. You can be enrolled in any of the 10 HCBS waivers. So additionally, there's trainings for CNAs and home health aides working in long-term home health that also qualify as long as they're a health first provider. So training vendors are also considered eligible applicants as long as the training is for the HCBS workforce. So say someone supplies training, that's the company, that's what they do, and they want to come in and be like, hey, we have this training for the HCBS workforce, we're seeking out providers to take this training. They also can qualify for the grant. You can find an application for the provider grant on the ARPA website. We shared the link in the chat earlier in the presentation. So in the application, you'll be required to provide a variety of information, including the Medicaid provider ID and a system for award management, short SAM number. Having a SAM number is particularly important because it allows your organization to access federal funds. Without it, you won't be able to access ARPA funds. So, I mean, it's really important to have that or to apply for it. Applying for a SEM number is free. You can fill out an application on their website that I will drop into the chat. If we have that, let me plop it in there. Hold on. Okay, here we go. All right, moving forward. Eligible expenses. Next slide. Eligible expenses are training and materials. So materials can include printouts, workbooks, a lot of other things. Certain music therapy providers will use like instruments and stuff as part of their materials. So there's a broad breadth and width of what materials can be. Training can include the cost of the training modules, training development costs. If you intend to develop training using ARPA funds, it is proprietary to the state. Training costs can also include staff salaries to take training or completion bonuses for staff that have taken the training. So if we are paying for the training to be developed, it's proprietary. So if we're paying you money to, or if we're funding the training, the development of the training, it comes back to the state. We'll send out budget workbooks where you'll be asked to include costs of training and materials, as well as a narrative description of these costs. I'd say in general, the more detailed, the better. So I think if we don't understand your costs, we are a lot less likely to approve. So if anything, over-explain it. If you feel like you're putting too much information in there, it's actually the right amount of information. A really helpful tool to use for determining what items are ineligible is the provider FAQ. And this can be found on the ARPA website. At this point, generally, the FAQ is a great resource to turn to if you have questions for the grant. So at this point, odds are that someone has already asked the question and it is in the FAQ if you were curious about something. And if it's not, feel free to shoot us an email and we will get back to you. Yeah. If you find that your question is not in the FAQ, feel free to contact us at the workforce email. Yes. So it's another great resource, and we'll drop that in the chat as well if we haven't already. We'll need you to include vendor quotes, itemized costs, and explain how you determine your rates. So in building a budget, it's a good rule of thumb to break down as much as you can into the smallest components, because there's a good chance we're going to come back and ask for that anyway. Next slide. So guidelines. All applicants have the ability to apply for multiple awards. However, you can only have one open grant at a time. So as soon as you complete your current project, you may begin working on another. And there's a caveat to that. So if you have an open grant, you can apply for another grant so long as the current one you have open will have concluded. So you know your grant's going to end before the next award cycle, or before the next award, you can apply for it within that cycle. You cannot begin work on your training until after you have received complete approval. So if we approve your training, we'll send you a letter and notify Public Consulting Group, PCG for short, which is the organization that handles our invoicing. PCG will notify you that you've been awarded. We'll notify you that you've been awarded, but PCG will contact you as well. It takes PCG like 2 to 3 weeks to process the award, at which point they'll contact you with a grant agreement. So it takes them a little while to kind of work through all of the awards. They have like cohorts and stuff that they'll process and send out at the same time. So once you've signed the grant agreement, you'll build your work plan, which is a statement of work for your project. Any work and costs associated with your project must be included within your work plan. So if we don't see it, it's not there. And it should be built off of your budget. So we'll approve your budget, and that is what you will build your work plan off of. We'll offer help and guidance as far as the completion of the work plan. You'll have a lot of support in completing. So yeah, we've worked on a lot of these. We're at like, I'd say 50 something that we've worked our way through at this point. So we have a lot of experience building work plans. If you need help, if you're stuck, if there's questions, concerns, feel free to contact us at the workforce email and we'll be able to answer those questions. Once we've agreed on a work plan, we'll approve it and you can send it to PCG for your first invoice and begin work on your project. So it's likely that when we get your work plan, we'll make some edits and suggestions and send it back to you. And then once we kind of reach a conclusion, once we reach an agreement on what your work plan should look like, we'll approve it. Yeah, next slide. So grant award cycles. So here's a list of the remaining cycles. We have 3 more, including this one. You may apply in any cycle so long as you don't have an open grant. If you're denied, you can always apply again the next cycle. We've had a lot of people come back and be like, okay, let me build upon my previous application and end up getting funding. So the application window for each cycle lasts 2 months, and we will announce the awardees on the 15th of the following month. And yeah, you can see February 15th, April 15th, June 15th. Next slide. How and where do you apply? So again, the application can be found in the ARPA Grant Opportunities website. You'll need your SAM number, which is very important. The budget we talked about earlier, and a Secretary of State letter of good standing, cover letter, which needs to be signed by the point of contact that will authorize the grant and the subsequent training. So if you're the person that we will be working with, generally that is the person kind of in charge of the organization, is the person that will authorize and sign the cover letter. Also, SAM number, yeah, we'll be looking for SAM numbers. I feel like I'm missing one. I need to add something. And feel free to bounce off ideas on us. Like, additionally, we have individual trainings open, and we're making some structure and changes to the individual trainings. But essentially it's like reimbursement based currently, $500 for individuals who want to pursue a higher level training. So it's a good thing to get out there. And yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. It's about time to take answers. Any questions? Anybody, feel free to pop them in the chat. Raise your hand.
What is this, Justin?
Oh.
Like the 8th or 9th one you've done? So I think you must have the questions down.
All right, cool. There is one more thing. Wage attestation. So there's a base wage attestation. That's the thing that I was not remembering. So base wage attestation is out there. So it's essentially an attestation that you are paying like the base required wage for direct care workers. And that is also a component that we will be looking for in processing applications. That's what I needed. I will add that. And yeah, if nobody has any questions, I know myself, I always think of them after the meeting. So please feel free to send us an email if they pop into your head once we leave. But yeah, I think if everybody's copacetic, I will take off. It was lovely that you all showed up. I hope your applications go well, and I would love to, we want to get this money out there. So thank you. And
Perfect. Thank you,
we will hear
Justin.
from you soon. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.